Okay, so here we go. This is an overview of the syllabi for the course. Now, the syllabus is basically a three-party agreement, right, between you, myself, the instructor, and the college. And what this basically outlines is it's an agreement between all three of us, but it's also a document that outlines certain expectations, and it's also a document that is informational, as you'll see. So when you scroll through this, as we go ahead and scroll on down, we have the first part of it, the class itself, where and when, how many credit hours, certain things like when's the last day to drop, when's the last day to withdraw, which I hope none of you have to do that. If you find yourself in that situation in the latter part of January or going into April, please seek me out. Maybe we can come to some resolution. Information regarding me, how to reach me. Best way is email. I'm an adjunct. I don't have an office per se. I have a really snappy, cool phone number, Fit One, but I don't have a phone. I'm sitting on top of a desk where I pick up my voicemails. So the best way to reach me is via email. And I can get back to you pretty much short order because it goes right to my phone. If it's on the weekend, it might be 24 hours. Let's take this down a little bit further. You've seen this 1,000 times in your other courses. Here's the course. Here's what we're trying to do. Here's our expectations. And here's what we're looking for as a course outcome. All these different things, 1 through 9. The book itself, I'm teaching, off of the 4th edition. I have 3rd edition as well if you need it, but I'm teaching off of the 4th edition. They're both very similar. It's just the 4th edition has a couple different little updated parts. And thus far, as I'm going through my course content and updating, I have not seen anything really glaring that's going to throw anybody off. And this is kind of the important part, right? Here we are in terms of grading criteria. And I shine a light to this all the time in every one of my classes because this helps to provide you strategy. You know you have, if you add this up, 750 points for the course. And with that, you can look at it and kind of go, all right, 750 points, a full third of that are the check for learning assignments for the NSCA. Maybe I want to make sure I stay on top of those to get all my points. Another beefy area of points is right here, the instructional portfolio. Now that portfolio, you're going to do the client profile on the front end. That's going to be taken care of in the first couple of weeks when you meet your client. And then as you look a little bit further down, the training sessions, those will be ongoing. Each week you're going to submit one of those anyway, so that's going to be kind of like automatic where you're going to earn your points. And then you get into social media strategy, which I'll break out into different sections throughout the course, and then the reflection paper at the end. So really the only one you have to wait on is the reflection paper at the end to encapsulate and talk about your experience going through the course and what you've learned, etc. So really when it comes down to, you start to develop a strategy in terms of, all right, so I can now really focus my time and energy on my 25 check for learning assignments for the NSCA, which are going to be ongoing and delivered on a weekly basis. And then I have my 10 check for learning assignments, which are going to be ongoing on a weekly basis on the front end of the course and will fall off after week number 5. So now you can strategize how you're going to earn these points to get you on the A train. So let's take a little further down. These describe the assignments, these little breakout areas, what you're looking to do, what you're trying to accomplish. I want to point this out too. With the practice exams, there's 2 of them that are being offered during the semester, but you're only going to be graded on 1. The first one is just for practice, no points. But here's the rub. You have to complete the practice exam to unlock the final exam. So if you don't do the practice exam, you won't be able to do the final exam and you won't get your hundo points. So make sure you do the practice exam first so you become familiar with the testing material. And that's really what I'm trying to do with this class. I'm trying to erode what's called construct validity. I'm trying to make you guys familiar with the testing content so that when you go and take the actual test, it's so familiar to you, it'll be comfortable to you. I'm not saying 100% you're going to pass the thing, but you'll be more familiar when you go in to take the test, which will allow you to perform better. So if we take a little bit further down, a little bit more about grading policy, etc. Don't be late on your assignments. It's going to cost you some points. I had, in the last year and a half, 2 years, we had a very lenient grading policy in general on campus, and I was very accommodating as somebody who is an instructor. And I can tell you, I had one of my students reach out to me and say, what up with that? You got to stop doing that because I stayed up all night sick with the flu to complete this assignment, and now you're going to give people an extension. Message was delivered, message was received, and I am now no longer as lenient as a result. And our college itself has really shied now away from the COVID pandemic environment where we were very accommodating to students. We're putting in place some more academic rigor, which is appropriate for a college environment. You should be able to get these assignments done and be responsible enough to get these things done to earn your grade. So as we take this a little bit further down, this now becomes an area that's more university or college focused in terms of the culture of the college classroom, as well as how you should operate as a student in terms of code of conduct and also academic honesty. I'm sure you've seen this if you're in a 200 level course. I know you've seen this several times as well. So make sure you're familiar with these resources on campus. But a little bit further down, I want to talk about these resources. There will no doubt, this is no doubt, an environment that is very unique in your life. You will very rarely move into the workforce and have as many resources available to you as you do right now as a student at any college. And I say this because, you know, many times we get into like the spring term and people go through kind of the trough of sorrow in February where it's gloomy, it's cruddy, it's cold, you don't get out and you're not really enjoying things. You're bundling up and freezing as you walk across campus, and it becomes like drudgery. But you have different resources available, whether it is Hawks Care in the food pantry, if you have food scarcity issues, or if you have some type of harassment on campus, or perhaps you need clothing for a job interview. You know, there are many different resources on this campus that, oh my goodness, you have people who are more than willing to help, and they love doing these types of things for students. So I shine a light to this area because I often say it, nobody needs suffer in silence, and you can use these resources to your advantage. Now, some of them are very educationally oriented, where, for example, access and disability service, where if you need an exam read to you as opposed to you just taking the exam because you have an IEP and you have a learning issue where you have to have something read to you, they'll do that. If you are somebody who needs to do a research paper and you have to go to the library, these people are ridiculous. Oh my God, if you go ahead and use even their chat service can usually direct you without having to go into the library. It's pretty amazing how sharp these guys are. We have a number of different other resources for computer help within the labs itself. If you need help writing papers, different types of tutoring. I've used that service myself for some other business related stuff. And then if you take it a little bit further down, you have different consulting services, and also you have different services on campus that are there to help protect you if you have any kind of physical threat or you have any issues on campus. So, you know, I often point this area out on the syllabi just because I think it's important to realize that you have all these different great resources on campus. Now, real quick, if we take a look at the course layout, and this is my rough layout. I'm going to tighten this up here in the next week or so as I start to talk with you guys about what we want to do here. But if you'll notice it's kind of a Roy G. Biv thing. It's red, orange, yellow, green. And because I'm redoing my content area for the NSCA, I'm actually changing this around and breaking it down to a 4-tab type model, and I'll take care of that probably Monday as I break this out a little bit better. But what I'm looking at is, from an organization standpoint, red, orange, yellow, green. You got the grays are the days off or other days you need to pay attention to, like the fitness assessment day where we're going to be working with people and you're going to be working with the wellness department. If you take a look now at our class and now go over to learning modules, you'll see that my courses are laid out in red, orange, yellow, green. And when you go into red, orange, yellow, green, you'll find that all the tabs in here are red. And if we go into actually, for example, the presentations themselves, you know, you'll have red screens, you'll have that content will be in red as well in the paper. So what I'm doing here is I'm really trying to make this where if you know you're looking for something earlier in the term and it's maybe April, you better be looking at slides that are red. Now, this came from my background as a student where I started kind of organizing my thoughts, where I would highlight things in red in the first part of the book. My notes, when I would write them down, I would highlight key points in my notes, would be in red. I would use the little tabs on top of my paper for my notes and in my book in red. and then I would do orange and yellow and green and blue and indigo and violet as I went through a term. And it really helped me as a student. And I have to tell you, I teach 5 classes as an adjunct, which really is kind of like full-time adjunct, which is an oxymoron. But I use this format to help me stay organized as an instructor. So I know if a student is asking me about something in any one of my classes specific to early content in the course, it's going to be in the red section of the course. If it's later, it's going to be the green or the blue or the indigo or the violet. So just realize that's my kind of organizational strategy for all my courses, just kind of like my own personal brand. Beyond that, guys, I will be using this announcement area heavily. Every time an assignment is uploaded and goes live, it'll be found here. It'll also be found in its particular module. So I try to do that to make life a little bit easier for you. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, absolutely reach out to me. You can reach out to me at this email address is the best. Usually any kind of appointment per se can be done in the first 5 minutes before class or after class. And it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a pretty cool semester with you guys, and hopefully this video helps you guys organize your thoughts regarding the syllabus and also the course layout. Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.